Welcome back to Nicholas' Comic Corner, Classics S Non-Classic. This is episode number 437 and Doubleshot number 354. Okay. First, I got two trades, like Doubleshot said, Marvel and IDW. First up is this really big, thick book. Sorry about that. That's my extra cry. This is Avengers, the complete Celestial Madonna Saga, and this collects Avengers 123 to 125 and 129 to 135, Giant Size Avengers 2 through 4, and Avengers Celestial Quest, the entire 8-issue limited series. With writing in here done by Steve Englehart and Roy Thomas. Yep. And Jim Starlin, I believe, is let's see. I saw him on here. Yeah, Jim Starlin's also one of the writers. I'm not sure exactly what he writes. He could write one of the Avengers issues, but anyways, yeah. This is all about basically the character of Mantis, this woman right here. Yeah, it's all about her. And also during the course of the saga, the swordsman dies. Yes, and remains dead for, let's see, I think it was about, almost 40, I think it was like 36 years. Let's see. Yeah, I think it was like 36 years the guy remains dead until the events of Chaos War, where he's brought back basically, and as far as I know, it has been almost 7 years since the storyline concluded, and Marvel has never bothered to do anything about it. Also, the character of Deathcry is in the 8-issue limited series, The Celestial Quest, which Englehart himself writes, and there's many visual references to the original saga itself, which is really long. I believe it was the second one, I believe it was. It could be second or third, basically. That's when they killed off the swordsman. Let's see, there's one particular one. I think it's, let's see, it's not 30. It's one of these ones. That actually is the wedding. Is it this one? Let's see here. I'm trying to think. I know one of these basically is the wedding of Scarlet Witch and let's see. Is it this one? No, it's not this one. I think it's Giant Size Avengers number 3, if I'm not mistaken. I want to be sure. No, it's not that one. Here we go. Yeah, actually, it's Giant Size number 4, which I believe Englehart is the one who wrote this. Yeah, Englehart is the one that wrote this. Yeah, it's in this particular one that lays the groundwork for many different stories. Also, there's a reference to the Avengers War. Awesome story. Englehart wrote both stuff for it. Pretty much, this is one great saga. It picks up right where the I believe it's the second Zodiac saga actually leaves off. I think it's like second or third one they actually did with the original Zodiac, which Roy Thomas himself created. In fact, Roy Thomas co-writes a lot of these issues. The guy here on the cover, that's actually Mantis' father, Libra, though in the Guardians of the Galaxy film, her father is Ego, though it's never explicitly stated. But basically, I guess the reason why they changed it from her being unrelated to Star-Lord to being her half-sister, my guess is because they're both created by the same person, Steve Englehart. That's the only reason I can think of anyways. But, yeah, also throughout most of the story, Captain America is absent. Basically, just Mantis, Iron Man, and Thor are like the only characters who practically... Oh yeah, Vision and Scarlet Witch, the only characters who actually read this entire story. Plus, this story is noteworthy for the debut of a particular group of supervillains. Who are they? Let's see. It also lays some origin work for the character of the Vision as well. Let's see, where is he? Well, actually, two groups. One is the Titanic Trio, which is basically a group of Iron Man villains. Yeah, Titanium Man, Crimson Dynamo, and Radioactive Man. Yeah, this guy right here, that's Crimson Dynamo. That's what he used to look like back in the set. That's one of them. That's Titanium Man. There's only one guy basically who had that suit. And Radioactive Man, yeah. Now, Titanium Man and Radioactive Man are two villains from Russia, basically, when the Cold War was so high. And of course, Radioactive Man is actually Chinese. Yep. Let's see here. Where is he? There they are. Let me just shoot to the group of villains who actually make a debut in this very particular saga. The Legion of the Unliving. And this is the original lineup. Was consisted of the Frankenstein monster, who actually is not actually dead. I don't know why they threw him in here. Midnight, who actually is no enemy of Moon Knight and Shang-Chi. Wonder Man in his Jack Kirby costume. By the way, this is actually Wonder Man's third appearance in the comics at this point, because he made his debut in issue 9, which he died in the very issue. Comes back around like little past issue 100 when the Vision meets up with the Grim Reaper. And of course, we also have Baron Zemo, and this, of course, is the first Baron Zemo introduced in the comics. I believe he made his debut in issue 6, and he was killed off like 10 issues later by Cap himself. Well, basically, indirectly, Cap, he basically fired off a gun, and basically a bunch of boulders came down on top of him, basically crushing him. There's also one other villain who actually is an enemy of the Silver Surfer, which I'm like, okay, I don't really know why. Now, the original Human Torch, Jim Hammond, that's a bit of a surprise because this is actually his first true appearance in a little while. But we have this guy, the Ghost. Yeah, a semi-obscure villain. I mean, if you read this, you're like, okay, I know who Wonder Man is. I have a pretty good idea who Jim Hammond, Wonder Man, and Frankenstein Monster, and Zemo. But the Ghost? Yeah, if you're reading this, you're like, who the heck is this guy? Yeah, he doesn't do very much this whole story. And of course, there's this guy, Midnight. This is Master Kung Fu 16, which actually, I should point out, though, there is no Master Kung Fu 16 because originally it was Marvel Special Edition. It became Master Kung Fu with issue 17. So actually, this should say, I'm trying to think of the name. Oh yeah, Marvel Special Edition. Yeah, and Midnight is also enemy of Moon Knight. By the way, he got killed off pages of Moon Knight. I think it was in Mark Spector Moon Knight. Yeah, it's great the fact that in this trade they collected as part of this actual saga dealing with Mantis herself. They basically threw in the debut of the Legion of Liberty. As a matter of fact, this group made their last known appearance back, I think it was like 2000, and it was an incarnation formed by the Grim Reaper, and that incarnation also included Wonder Man. I think it was Wonder Man. Yeah, it's too bad Marvel's never used this group of villains in such a long time. I mean, what Marvel villains have they used in the past, like, let's say, decade? I would say only two. The Masters of Evil, which they are still around, by the way. Though they kind of changed the name to Army of Evil for some reason because, well, Secret Empire recently. And, of course, Legion making the most recent appearance in 2009 as Legion of Liberty. Awesome group. Too bad no longer around. And this is actually, also they throw in a couple references to Iron Man's debut from Tales of Astonish number 39. And also, of course, basically Iron Man's grudge against the two Russian villains. The Celestial Quest miniseries actually is a continuation of this particular saga, where Mantis basically mated with a guy who she thought was swordsman, basically just an alien. I should point out something about this particular thing. Now, after the saga wrapped up, Mantis disappeared from Marvel Comics for 20 years. Where did she go? Well, she jumped over DC for some reason, changed her name to Willow. I have no idea why Eckhart Hart thought this was a good idea. She dropped for a couple issues, disappeared, popped up in an independent company, changed name again. I don't remember the actual name, but she popped up there. And then she finally returned to Marvel Universe. And the Celestial Quest miniseries introduced two new characters to Marvel Universe. One, of course, is a character known as The Rot. Seriously, that's his name, The Rot. Oh, and, let's see, where is she? That's good. Now, also, for some reason, in the past, like, I don't know, 20 years or so, yeah, for some reason, they decided to change Mantis' skin color to green. I have no idea why they did that for. And as far as I know, Mantis' most recent appearance was actually in, I believe it was during the first arc of the previous volume of Guardians of the Galaxy, where she was basically made a member of the Nowhere Corps, which basically consists of the other half of the founding members of the Dan Abbott and Atlantic version of Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, there's this character who actually is her son. When I first saw this character, I thought this guy was Jason Woodrow. I mean, look at this guy. He looks almost exactly like Jason Woodrow. I have no idea why in the world that the artist, who's the artist for this miniseries? It's actually really good artwork. The artist for this miniseries is Jorge Stamera. Yeah, I have no idea why he thought this was a good idea. And of course, this is modern day. I think this is as recent as like 1990 something. I think it's like around that period of time. It's a quick issue miniseries, and it's just basically a sequel to this original awesome saga. I highly recommend it if you're a fan of Steve Eckhart. There's I point out one of the editors of this thing, Lean Ween, because he recently passed away, and awesome writer. Never got a jive for him how good of an editor he was, but he was one awesome writer. I read a lot of this guy. I read his work for Swamp Thing, his run for Batman. Heck, I read his run for Hulk, basically. And when you think of Lean Ween, who's usually the first two characters together he's actually created? Swamp Thing and Wolverine. And along with him, Swamp Thing, both Swamp Thing's creators have not passed away. First was Bernie Wrightstein. First that was 6 months ago, and now it's Lean Ween. I have always wanted to meet this guy, but can't now. The guy passed away. I would probably love it if I got a chance to meet him, got a chance to sign an issue of Swamp Thing, maybe the issue of Wolverine. The Logan one, not the Laura. I could probably have Chris Yost sign that one. But yeah, he doesn't do any writing in here. He's just one of the editors in here, along with Roy Thomas and Tom Butterworth. Roy Thomas in some of these issues, he's actually a really good editor, basically, because he does something a lot of the Marvel editors don't do nowadays, or at least very rarely do. Throw in editorial notes. So at least have promotions like, let's say, oh yeah, I remember just here and there. But yeah, this is really good. I give this a 9.75 out of 10. This is amazing. Next up is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 1 Show Unleashed, which contained the first 12 issues of the IDW run for the Turtles. Written by co-creator Kevin Eastman and Tom Waltz, with art by Dan Duncan. Yeah, this is just the first year of the run of this particular title. And this title's been going on now for about 7 years now. Yeah, I think it published back in 2010. I think that's when it started. Yeah, I believe it was 2010. Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah, I'm thinking that it was 2010. Now, I should point out, though, that when they did the colorized covers for the original Mirage Comics run, yeah, all four of the Turtles had the same color mask, red. Though later on in later stuff, they gave Leo blue, Michelangelo orange, and of course Donatello purple. Now, in these 12 issues, basically, you could debut basically the four Turtles, Splinter, Casey Jones, April O'Neil, and Baxter Stockman, of course, the Mousers, Shredder, and Karai, along with the Foot make a debut in here as well. There is at least, oh yeah, and there's two new characters they bring in here. One is General Krang, who actually, I think is actually based upon Krang from the 1987 series, though he's a lot more darker in this incarnation. And they throw in a character who actually makes his, who actually is an original character in this continuity, Ode Hobb, who actually is a mutant cat. And he looks like a pirate. And there's also his character, Apex, who actually becomes a good guy. Basically, both Ode Hobb and Apex do become good guys later on. Matter of fact, Ralph basically develops an attraction to Apex. Apex is a snow fox, and it's a female snow fox. And Ralph is attracted to her for some reason. Yeah, it's never explained. Something. I don't know if that was Tom Waltz's idea or Kevin Eastman's. I have no idea. But these 12 issues are amazing. I highly recommend getting this particular trade. It is just pure awesomeness at its finest when it comes to this particular thing. Now, if you read this after you watch the reboot film, you're probably thinking, man, the origin of Turtles in here is very similar to that, of the 2014 film. Because I think they basically based upon that origin story, basically of April giving their names, basically partially based upon the IDW origin, which I kind of noticed that myself. The difference is that, for one thing, they actually throw in here that Splinter is a reincarnation of Hamato Yoshi, and the Turtles are actually reincarnations of his sons. As for Shredder, by the way, if you want to know what Shredder looks like in the IDW continuity, let's see, what's a good picture of him? Yeah, there's actually, here he is. This is the Shredder in IDW. In Mirage, he was a minor character in IDW because, well, the 1987 series made him such a huge villain. They decided to make him a big villain in the comic books. Basically, I guess Kevin Thiem was like, okay, Shredder is a popular villain, even though we made him a joke of even though, from his perspective, he and Peter Laird basically made him a joke of a villain in the original Mirage comics run, which I've read some of it. It's really good. I highly recommend it. It's in the Ultimate Collection. I've read some of it. It's really good. But it's good the fact Kevin Thiem is the co-writer of the series. I think it's awesome. I highly recommend this, along with pretty much the rest of the trades that come out for this series. I'm going to get this one a 10 out of 10. This is just awesome. Alright, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which I have 2 more TMNT trades. Okay? Until then, I will see you there. Bye.